All right, I am back grading another one of your Dynasty teams. Now, if you want your team to be considered, join our Discord with the link in the description. And there's a text channel that says Dynasty Team Grades. Make sure you send it in the right format with the link that we pinned. But it's just me today, so I'm going to tell you some moves that I might make if it were my team. Badake is either married right now or about to get married when you're watching this video. So big congratulations to him for tying the knot. But let's talk about this. Shout out to NOAHSOFUEGO. We're looking at your team today, Noah. And I like the username, by the way. NOAHSOFUEGO. I mean, that's nice. A little bit of context. This is a super flex team with 3 flex positions. They also have a defense here. You know, I'm not a fan of playing defense in Dynasty, but to each their own. Let's start with the quarterback position, though. All right. At the quarterback position, what instantly stands out to me is there's not really a ton of depth, but there are 2 great young quarterbacks that I really believe in. For Trey Lance, I think I own Trey Lance in some leagues, and I'm really hoping and praying that by the time that we get to mini camps, that Jimmy's going to be off the team. I just don't think that this is really going to help Trey Lance take the next step with Jimmy on this team. It's the same way I felt about Tua when Ryan Fitzpatrick was there and they were going back and forth. And I just feel like that hurts a player's confidence. So the best thing that the Niners can do for Trey Lance's confidence is either trade or cut Jimmy. I know that it's not going to make sense for them in a monetary value. They might not get draft picks for that. But at the same time, you have to give the keys to the kingdom to Trey Lance. You have to say, hey, we believe in you. We've seen the progression. Now it's your turn. No one is behind you, waiting for you to mess up. We got you. You can make mistakes, and they need to make that decision. So I hope for both of our sakes that happens. I still believe in Trey Lance. If he starts every single game, he has top 8 finish upside. He really does with his rushing upside. In a super flex league, I like these 2 guys. Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson can absolutely bring the best out of him. They improve the offensive line. So I like this quarterback crew here. It's young, there's potential, but obviously there's no depth. And in a super flex league, you ideally would have at least 3 quarterbacks, maybe 4. Your bench is actually bigger than what I have here on the screen. There's like 5 or 6 empty bench spots that I just cut out, but ideally you would at least have, 3 to 4 quarterbacks on this team. So let me give you a couple ideas with this quarterback position. And some of these might be controversial, but just hang in with me there for a sec, okay? You have the 102. Okay, looking at your draft capital, you have the 101, the 102 in this year's draft. All right, so with the 102, you could be looking at Malik Willis. All right, let's say he lands in Seattle, New Orleans, Atlanta. Those are good spots. I think that could make a lot of sense. Alternatively, and I just want to throw out an option for you in case this might sit well with you. Alternatively, you could move back from the 102 if the right offer comes along. Let me explain, all right? Firstly, I think we could all agree at this class, and maybe you view it a little bit differently to me, but there's no promise that Malik Willis is not a bust. There's enough imperfections in his game to say that it could be a wasted pick at the 102. Now, we all see the upside. The upside is clear. The rushing upside, he has the best arm strength in the class. So there's enough there to mold him, but it doesn't mean that he's going to be molded and take the next step. So the way I have talked about this quarterback class, and I will continue to say the same thing, is that I think that they all have the same percentage chance to be successful quarterbacks in the NFL. They all have the same bust rate. They're all really boom or bust. None of them are guaranteed. They all have certain skill sets that will allow them to succeed in the NFL. Obviously, Malik is the most attractive because of what he can do on the ground, but still, I am open to moving back from that 102. If you can get multiple firsts in this year's class, I think it's worth your time. So let me explain. Let's say someone really falls in love with a player at the 102 in your class, in your league, excuse me. If you can get, let's say, the 106 and the 108, I think that makes a lot of sense because your league, if you look at your starting lineup, you can start 5 wide receivers at a time in this format. And your wide receivers are top heavy, but man, could you imagine if, you were able to get the 106 and the 108 or the 110 or something for the 102, and then you can go out there and get a Chris Olave, and you get a Jameson Williams, maybe a George Pickens, a Jahan Dotson, Drake London if he falls there. Because you can start 5 wide receivers in your league, I think that could make a lot of sense. And if you can see here with the draft capital, you still have the 201. So with the 201, you can select whatever quarterback is available there. I know in a lot of our, we do live streams where we do rookie mocks, and in a lot of our live streams at the 201, we are still seeing Desmond Ridder. We're still seeing Matt Corral and Sam Howell. So these are quarterbacks that you can take a chance on with the first pick of the second round to improve your quarterback depth. But the risk rate of that pick not hitting is way lower than what it would be if you spent the 102. So I know this is a controversial thought, but I've been thinking about doing it in some of my own leagues. So because of how important the wide receiver position is for you, if you can get multiple firsts or a deal that makes a lot of sense for your overall team construction, because you really lack depth overall at almost every position. So those are a couple ideas I wanted to throw out. I know some of it is controversial, but these are moves that I would truly consider. And I think that they could make a lot of sense for your team, especially considering that you have more future draft capital to play around with as well. But let's look at the running back position. And I actually want to hear everyone's thoughts on that. Like, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Is that something that you would try? You can agree, you can disagree. That's fine. Let's look at the running back position. Really, really top heavy again. No depth, but you have Akers, you have Etienne. Those are 2 really solid running backs in your lineup. A lot of people will disagree with this, but I think Etienne absolutely could have a top 5 year. I really think he did. He could have that. I viewed him and Najee Harris as far as scouting grades as a prospect, they were very similar. They're different players, but I'm saying as far as how highly I graded them, I'm a big Travis Etienne guy, so I absolutely would not be moving Etienne. Akers, you guys know I'm not the biggest Akers lover. With that Achilles injury, performed really badly in the playoffs. I know that playoff football is different, but I would be open to exploring what you could get for Akers, but you don't have to. These are 2 really good running backs that you definitely can build the future of your team with, but there's no depth. Again, no depth at all to this team. But if we look at your draft capital, the 101, if there is any pick that I think should be locked in for you here, it's Breece Hall. Breece Hall at the 101, and I don't really think it matters where he lands. If he lands in Pittsburgh and he's sharing a backfield with Najee Harris, and then Kenneth Walker lands in Buffalo, yeah, well, let's talk about maybe if you should go for a different running back. But assuming it's even a decent landing spot for Breece Hall, I think you should lock him in at the 101. Not only does that improve your running back depth, it also will improve your starting lineup. So you can have Akers, Etienne, and then you can put a running back in one of these flex spots. So I think it improves your team as a whole. I do think Breece Hall is a very, very... he stands alone as a talent amongst these running backs, in my opinion. So improves your depths, improves your starting lineup. And then if you want to get more running backs in this class, don't spend the 201 on a running back. I think that's a really bad tier to go running back in this year's class. But if you want to take a shot on a guy that you love and at the 301, at the 401, yeah, go ahead and build some more running back depth there. So those are things that I would definitely do. Breece Hall would absolutely be a lock on my team. And I'm not moving the 101. I'm trying to move the 102 and move back for more value. Well, let's look at the wide receivers here. Wide receiver position, very important in your league. Like I talked about, it's a very important position. All PPR leagues, I think wide receivers are more important than running backs. I know a lot of people will disagree there, but in a PPR format, wide receivers are very, very crucial. And in Dynasty, they last much longer than running backs. That's just a fact. You can start 5 wide receivers at a time in this format. I mean, technically you can start 6, but you would want to start a quarterback in that super flex spot. But wide receivers are super important, and you're very top heavy. You got CD, and Justin Jefferson there at the top. These are your core guys. You're not moving these players. And then I think Gage, Mooney, and Ayuk, they're decent players. Do I really want to rely on Russell Gage or Ayuk? I think it's okay for where your team is right now, but whenever you do want to get to that phase where you're truly trying to win a championship, I don't think those are guys that you want to rely on a weekly basis for a championship team. Russell Gage is a really interesting piece because I think at this point, he is best to hold, but come mid-season, we don't know if Chris Godwin's going to be ready to go week 1. And I think that was a big reason why Russell Gage was a fit for Tampa Bay. We don't know if Godwin's going to be ready week 1. So I imagine there's a scenario where Russell Gage could be used heavily in the first couple weeks, and then his trade value would be an all-time high in Dynasty. So what I'm telling you is hold Russell Gage for now. Wait until the season starts. And then if there's a week where he just pops off, let's see if we can get a first-round pick. It's probably unlikely now, but let's not forget what people said about Deebo Samuel back, last offseason. Things change. So he's someone I would hold for now, but look to exploit his trade value while Godwin is out, or if he goes on a run to begin the season. Mooney is interesting because I keep seeing trades submitted for Darnell Mooney where people are getting first-round picks, and I don't understand that. I don't think I would spend a first-round pick on Darnell Mooney. I like Darnell Mooney. I like the combination of speed. He's a pretty good route runner as well, separator. But yeah, I would take a first-round pick for him in a heartbeat. So if you can make that kind of move, and if anyone in your league sees him that way, then I would definitely go for it. Mooney to me is a really good complementary piece. I really like Mooney, but I'm also not opposed to moving him if I'm able to get a first in really any class. It doesn't matter what class it is. If you can give me a first-round pick, I will make that move. But outside of that, I would likely ride with this crew that you currently have, keeping in mind that you do have 2 first-round picks in 2023 as well as your second there. So from what we know right now, it's a very good wide receiver class. It's just a fantastic class altogether. So you can obviously continually improve this team. And even next year, I feel like this team is going to be primed to win now after the 2023 draft. You have really good young pieces. None of these guys are really going to out-age that window. So I think if I'm you, I'm really looking to probably it sounds kind of, depending on what your league thinks about this, do my best to not be all that competitive this year and try and make my first next year a really, really good first. And then I think 2023, after that draft class, you're going to have enough talent all around, even including depth, to really have a go. And not only have a go, but have a go for a couple years. I mean, a lot of years based off of how young your team is. And when we look at the tight ends here, look, for me, all I got to say is one thing. Do not sell Noah Fant. This is not the time to sell Noah Fant. People are really low on him after that trade to Seattle, but I actually view it the opposite way. I think I view him as a really good buy low, which means that his trade value is not in a place where it should be for you to move him. He's still super, super young. Was a first-round pick, really talented pass catcher, big body guy, has been injured, but he can figure it out, and the situation has changed. Yes, he's not playing with Russell Wilson, but change is good. We don't know how he's going to be used just yet, but I can guarantee you that Seattle is going to want to get the most out of that trade, and Noah Fant was a big piece for them. So all I got to say is do not move him yet, all right? It's not the time to do that. Defense-wise, I mean, you got the Rams defense. It's pretty damn good. You also got the Eagles defense. They're continually improving. So I just don't get why people play with defenses. But yeah, I mean, you got the Rams defense. Don't move it. Actually, maybe you should be open to that because you're not really, it's not that you're not a win now team. I don't know. I would be open to moving the Rams defense for like a young defense that I see potential in if it meant I got future draft capital. Depends on how your league really values that defense position and what your scoring settings are. But yeah, I'd be open to moving this to a win now team because there's a lot of pieces there in LA that probably won't fit your timeline when you're ready to compete. So that's something that you could actually consider. Overall team grade, I'm going to give this an A-. You got a ton of foundational pieces, young guys that you can grow around, in a lot of draft capital to continually improve with. Like I said before, your win now window, to me, after the 2023 draft, you should be all in. And I would just be careful with moving any of these young pieces unless you get good value, the foundational guys. So let me know, guys. What do you think of Noah's team? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you like my ideas that I've placed? Do you dislike them? That's okay. Comment down below. I always love to see everyone's opinions. It really gives us a better overall picture. Even if I disagree with what you're going to comment, I like to see it because I like to see people's thought processes. So if you want your team graded, again, join the Discord with the link in the description. Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
watch it.
You can also subscribe
right now
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.